All right, y'all. I am going to be showing you how to notch your subframe. I've never done this before, as you can see, but you're going to need a couple of tools. You're going to need some cutoff wheels. Bought these from Home Depot. I just bought myself a thicker one just in case I needed to buzz some sides down or something. You're going to end up needing these too. Cutting blades so that you can cut out the metal part of the bushing down here. But essentially, so this is upside down. What you're going to do, this is where your upper control arms mount, right? So there's a pre-existing weld line. One of my friends had told me to just stick to this line. You don't need to cut any past it necessarily, or at least he didn't. And you're gonna make a cut here, you're gonna make a cut here, and essentially just get rid of it and you'll have some plates welded in. It's pretty much the same on both sides. They're identical, where you just go right before this hole, right before that hole, and go about to where this line is right here. So I'm gonna get to cutting and show you how this stuff goes. So I just kind of drew an outline for myself just to make it a little bit easier, maybe. Help follow, give you some guidelines so you don't get lost where you're cutting. Okay, so I have my two initial cuts here, right there and right there. Now I'm going to try and cut along the bottom here and see what I can get out of it. Okay, I've made all my cuts. I'm gonna try and break that piece out of there now and see if I went too far, see if I went too little. I don't know yet, but we'll see how this looks. All right, so I have chopped it out. It went something like this before. So what I'm actually gonna do is get rid of this little half circle thing, just because when I go to fill this plate in with some steel, that's gonna be pretty difficult to fill. So I'm gonna go a little bit farther and cut this part out, but otherwise it should look something like this. You don't wanna go too far, just because this is where your upper control arms mount and they weld to. Could you get closer? Yeah, but do you need it? Probably not. But then essentially you're gonna put some steel in here and you're gonna weld these in and weld in some plates so that the structural integrity is still there. There's not a lot of stress on the subframe from this car. It's not making a whole bunch of power. We obviously all know that. But there is still some stress on here, and you just removed, think about how much you just removed here. So I would weld in something. You technically don't have to. And I'm pretty sure PBM only calls for you to only like cut out this little tiny circle, but this is just the best thing for you to do, especially if you want to be super low. So my next step here is to get rid of these bushings since I did both of my cuts. I've been trying to burn both of them out, or all 6 of them out, but it's seeming to take forever. I was gonna go buy MAP gas or take it to my buddy's house and use oxyacetylene, but I'm gonna try and use a drill bit and drill around all the different holes right here, then see if I can like press it out or force it out somehow. Okay, I have done 1 or 2 technically. That's the actual, like, I guess it's not the actual bushing itself, but I lit these on fire, just holding the propane torch to them for a really long ass time. And then eventually they loosened up enough to where I was able to just punch them out. And now I'm just gonna let these sit on fire until all of that rubber is burned out. So I've just been going from one to the other, kind of making sure they're all still alight, but right now I've just been sitting here on this one for a while. Eventually I'm sure I'll be able to just hammer that thing out right there. I would definitely suggest wearing a mask of some kind and or using MAP gas, M-A-P-P, MAP gas. Because if you're doing this in a garage like I am, you will smoke yourself out. You'll probably end up dying. So definitely suggest either doing this outside or with a fan. Make sure it's all getting out of here. But
this on wood blocks because this one's got to come out pretty far, and when it's set on the ground, you can't get it all the way out. It stops on the floor. So once it gets hot enough, eventually you should be able to just take anything. I'm using just a screwdriver and just push it out. And don't let your wood catch on fire because that'd be bad. All right, now that you have it like this, all your bushings out, you will be able to use your Sawzall tool and your blade and be able to cut through and get out the steel ring that's in the middle of these. I still have yet to burn out the diff bushings, but I want to just do, I guess, one thing at a time.
Okay, I cut my slits, but it's still not coming out. I've been using this punch and a hammer on it, so I'm gonna try and do some research and see why it's not coming out or what else I gotta do or what. So after honestly hours and going through an entire blade, I had to cut like maybe 8 different slits into this thing before it finally started to move. These things are no joke, at least for me, and I don't know how everybody else gets them out so quick and easy. I've seen guys cut one slit in them and they just fall right out, but I guess for me, I'd use WD-40. I tried to use a socket using a punch. This has been taking me hours. Another thing that nobody says is this black shit, all the rubber that comes out, will track everywhere. It gets all over your shoes. It goes across your garage floor. It will literally track everywhere. And I would highly suggest doing it on either outside or in the on a carpet, or just trying to be cleanly about it. Alrighty, I got the next one out. That took less time than the first one, just because I just did more cuts initially, cut harder. Let the blade go at a medium pace, not a fast pace. Used the screwdriver, gave up with the punch, and used the screwdriver to get in on all the sides of it, because it sits in here like this. Get in on the sides of it, and then push it inwards so it folds in like that. And then I just used the hammer and a socket, the biggest socket I had, which is a 36, and just absolutely beat the piss out of it until it comes out. All right, got the third one out here. Let me tell you, when I say you gotta smack the living fuck out of these things, you gotta smack the shit out of them. I wasn't even using the socket anymore. Just put it up on a piece of wood or else it'll bottom out. You gotta get on one knee, use both your hands like fucking Thor. Wham! Smack the fuck out of it. Holy shit. All right, y'all. I got the last steel retainer out, and holy fuck. I really hope everybody else has an easier time than I did, because I beat the fuck out of this, and now it's like kind of rounded on the inside, so I'm sure I'll have to smooth that up just a bit, just clean it up. But holy shit. I had to flip this over and cut it on both sides multiple times. I had it flipped over. It was sitting like this, and I hammered this portion of it in so it would come in and clear better, and then flipped it back over and just pounded the fuck out of it with the hammer on this side. The socket only works really well if you somehow manage to cut this or smash this in clean, because you can see it doesn't really sit flush. But no, my back hurts, and I still gotta do the diff bushings over there too. I burn those out and fucking do that shit. So, but I'm going to try and cut out the bushings, like the actual like part where the bolt goes through. GK Tech says that you can hit this one out with a hammer. I don't know how the fuck that's even possible, but I mean, I guess maybe I'll give it a shot first and see what happens before I cut. But they also stated that only this one is oil filled, when this one is definitely also oil filled. So I guess I'll try and hit it out with a hammer first. So I tried one more time with the hammer. So you have to have it facing this way, and you will literally take
it'll be like sticking out on this side. Literally just smack the outsides that are sticking out, and it'll just plop right out. So that one was pretty easy. I've heard this one you do have to cut out though. So the way that GK Tech says on their website is they want you to stick your blade into the hollow parts and cut towards the race, which is going to be your like steel retainer. So okay, so I did remove it. Took a while, to be honest, but I did drill a couple holes in there just to make it easier to fit the blade inside and give it a little bit more wiggle room so I'm not fighting it. But otherwise, yeah, so you just drill some holes is what I did, and then you just go sideways until you cut just barely into each corner of the retainer. And then I guess I cut pretty good on that one. Just stood on it, I grabbed my hammer, and just wailed on the center of it until it literally shot and it hit that vacuum over there. So the subframe is done. I still have to remove the bushings out of the differential. I got a Y58. But otherwise, yeah, the subframe should be done. So I drilled a couple holes through these things. I'm just gonna burn them out. Burn them out as much as I can, get them loose, take a socket, smack the fuck out of it with a hammer. And then this whole thing, this is my other diff, that whole thing will fall out and it'll leave this empty, so. Using propane, you're gonna wanna sit here for a long time. Probably like 5 minutes each. Took me a long ass time to do the other bushings to try and get them out, just to be able to cut them out then. But yeah, you're gonna be here for a while. Just did a burn for about 5 minutes or so. So let's see if it'll come out, maybe. I'm assuming not, but we'll try. Oh, it went. There she goes. So I'll do the other side. I'm pretty sure you have to cut this too with a Sawzall, but I'm gonna verify and find out. All right, this one probably took me 20 minutes to heat up, 20 minutes to try and heat up and push out before it finally decided to come out. And this shit's gonna be hot as fuck, so don't put it on like the carpet like I've got, or else it'll fucking burn that shit. So this is only part of your bushing. Obviously there's still more in here that's got to come out. This whole lip piece thing has got to come out. I don't know how the hell you're going to do this without an air hammer, but I just went and borrowed my buddy's. He lives right around the corner, so I just went and grabbed his. But I have no idea how you're going to be able to do this without an air hammer. The other videos I've watched, they use an air hammer and they just pop right out in 2 seconds. So that's what I'm going to do here. All right, so I'm going to try and cut these back out, because even the air chisel is not doing jack shit. So I'm gonna try and cut some relief slits into these like we did the subframe, and see if I can then air chisel them to fuck off then. All right, just an update. I have been going at these now for probably 45 minutes. With the air chisel, and I have absolutely no luck. I'm destroying the diff in the process of doing this, and I don't even know how the fuck these are still in here. There is no way. They should just fucking fall out. I put a hole through that one. I don't know how the fuck it's still in here, but... Alright, well, shortly after I was swearing at this, because I have these so fucked and folded inward, it gave me like a lip on the inside to flip it back over and push on. So we're gonna try it right now live, see what the fuck happens. Oh, I punched a hole through that fucker too. Ah, bitch.
Bitch. Yeah, now I fucked up my diff. Not fucked it up, but took out some chunks that I probably didn't need to, but that's just gonna have to be the way it is. So I hope to God all of you guys don't struggle as much as I have this whole fucking time, because Jesus. Okay, to wrap things up here, I know I didn't film everything as good as I would have liked to. I've got all 4 of my subframe corner bushings out. There's your 2 diff bushings, those are out. Then this is the actual bushings on the diff itself out. So, got those out there, those out, that, got my subframe notched, bushings out, and the only thing left for you to do is to just clean some stuff up. Take a sandpaper or something on the inside of there. Make sure things are kind of more so the way they're supposed to be. Smooth some of this out, wire brush, whatever. Any little things like this right here. Wire brush, get that stuff out of there.
So here's what me and my buddy Corey had done first. We took our cardboard, made a little template just by pushing the cardboard down to try and make the shape. Went to our steel, cut out a piece of steel. This is just standard, just 1/8 inch steel. Just bought it through Amazon. And now we've got it to our shape, had to take it to the wire wheel, buzz it down a little bit. And now we're gonna end up throwing some tacks down on one corner and then putting the other corner down with a C-clamp so it holds it in place, and laying her in. Alright, so the second plate I cut is a little shy. It's like, it's too skinny. Hopefully you can hear me over that thing. But, so, we'll have to line this side up, tack it on there, use a C-clamp on this side, and just kind of bend it down almost, and try to get it to fit inside here. It'll work just fine. I'm not super worried about it, but it is just almost too perfect.
Once you have everything welded in, I got it all welded in by my friend here. Not a perfect job. We're not welders by any means, but this I actually had a welder do just because I was more sketched out by that. But next thing you're going to do is you need to put your bushings in. So if you get the PBM ones, they're going to be different sizes. So these are the longer ones. They're going to go into the back here. Exhaust hanger for reference there. Man, why won't this thing focus? There we go. Longer ones go in the back and the shorter ones go in the front. And then for maximum clearance, you'll have to shave the opposite side of this flat. Otherwise, they include some little tiny spacers that go in here. And doesn't give you as much clearance, but that's exactly what I want and what I'm doing it for. So I'm going to do that and smack these things in here. Just going to use my wood board here and just... the shit out of it until it goes in. Check it out, make sure it's good. So it'll sit flat, and then you have a gap on the bottom there that you'll trim down with the cutoff wheel. Okay, I have every single bushing in. You can see here, this is where we're going to shave. I switched out to a thicker disc that's actually going to grind and not cut. These were a bitch for me. These probably took like maybe 25 minutes each. Most guys you see, they just slide in. For me, that didn't happen. I had to force them in with the hammer. Actually, so much so that I ended up breaking a piece of wood hitting it for so long. But I'm going to get to grinding this, and then we'll end up painting soon. Okay, so I'm about halfway on this side. I'm gonna go a little farther just so that till I see it nicking the yellow here. And then I'm just gonna push it all the way around. And hopefully this blade doesn't blow up on me or something. Had a small intermission. My angle grinder was starting to sketch me out. It's getting extremely loud for no reason, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's old. So went and bought a Milwaukee, and hopefully this will not sketch me out as much, and it'll grind these down to finish it out. Okay, so if you don't have a Milwaukee grinder, go get one. That sped up the process a shitload, and it went very smoothly. I'm just using a Home Depot like Diablo blade. Shit went fast, so I'm gonna go on the other one and try and record it. Here's what it should look like when you're done. This took a little bit of a while, but buying the Milwaukee definitely helped me. It was $79, so, but it should be something like this, perfectly flat, smashed in there. These ones, the longer ones, you don't have to sand down or, grind down. But yeah, I'm pretty much ready for paint, I think, tomorrow. I have everything painted the way I want it to. Gonna be installing the differential to the subframe itself. I'm gonna start with attaching it here, putting my 2 bolts in there, and then I'm going to just put it into the subframe or put it into the car, and then I'm going to attach all the suspension components to it from then on. All right, I have my Faction Refutego diff guard mounted to my diff, but I'm running into an issue that I wanted to record to show you guys. So without the spacers there, you can see this thing almost wants to line up. This case or whatever has been smacked and destroyed. I've had to re-weld it a couple times, so this thing might be bent out of shape, but you can see it's close. But if I bend it down, it lines up pretty decent. So obviously I've got to make this fit somehow. So put your bushings in here, slide them in. I'm gonna line up the holes, and well, first I want to measure what the diameter of this hole is. It's about a 1/2 inch. So now I'm going to go over to here. So if I know that that hole is about a 1/2 inch, to trim away, I gotta trim, not a lot. I gotta trim pretty much to the 1/2 inch mark. So I have since dremeled that away, kind of made like a slot almost for it, and now it all works together. So now I can run the guard and my new bushings all at once, and I don't have a problem now. So I'm gonna get these back installed, get it all lined up, and I'm gonna show you putting it back in. 2 new bolts are going to go into here. You may have to shimmy and pick up the diff. Shimmy it around and get it to try and line up, but these should just go in pretty smooth. You shouldn't have to fight these. Okay, so you've got your subframe flipped upside down. They have included washers for you. So the back side where your sway bar connects, you're gonna have a washer here. You're gonna have a washer on here. It's going to go right there. The other ones just get 1 washer on the bottom side.
When you do a riser kit like this, the differential will touch the bottom of the trunk, so you've got to heat it up and hit it with a hammer to get clearance.
All right, have my subframe back in. Torque spec on all 4 of these bolts is going to be 107 foot-pounds. I used my motorcycle jack, lifted it up pretty evenly.
Freeze frame for a second here. The torque specs for these 2 bolts installed vertically is 70 foot-pounds.
And just slowly used a ratchet all the way around until it got about halfway, and then I just used my air impact and sent them the rest of the way. But 2 washers for this one. Like I said, 1 washer for those. And yeah, gonna start putting the upper control arms back in, lower control arms, caster arms, all that stuff. End things off here, showing you everything installed. So got everything all pretty much wrapped up. This video is being taken weeks, actually almost like 2 months later, because I've had to buy parts and whatnot. But this should be about your finished product.